Good evening and welcome to another episode of Clearly Ambiguous. So, usually I record this episode which I upload Sunday evening around Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon. But today was pretty eventful all day, right? And as you might have known by the by the title now, that the ceasefire, what the American president Donald Trump like to call the ceasefire, and even the foreign ministry statements from Pakistan said was a ceasefire, and we were very clear that we are halting our military operations. And we did mention that we are going to, reconvene on a later date to assess the situation. But it seems that that thing has been violated within 3 hours of it getting agreed upon. Now, our dear neighbor, it seems, has gone back on its word, right? And we'll come to that. But the observations that I made throughout yesterday and today, there are a couple of things that I would like to mention first and foremost. See, we have to understand. One thing before I forget: even the G7 foreign ministers have made a statement on India and Pakistan, and it reads: "We, the G7 foreign ministers of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and United Kingdom, and the United States of America." And high representatives of European Union strongly condemn egregious terrorist attack in Pahalgam on April 22nd and urge maximum restraint from both India and Pakistan. Further military escalation poses serious threat to regional stability. Now, they all agree that it was a terrorist attack on Pahalgam, right, on 22nd. So, before I go deeper into the things that I would like to speak about, let's again understand, okay? Because why do we have to mention the timeline again and again? Because right now, our adversaries very smartly want to start the timeline according to their own convenience. They do not want to go to 22nd of April. They only want to pick up those things where it is convenient to them. Now, 22nd of April, a cowardly terrorist attack happened. So, in response to that, India gave a precise and a measured response, demolishing terrorist infrastructure. So, we went against terrorist infrastructure. While we demolished that terrorist infrastructure, and those proscribed terrorists have made statements that they have had losses within their family, or there are terrorists who have been killed, which is in the news. And these are, mind you, terrorists which are proscribed as international terrorists, not only by India, but by United States and other countries as well, right? Of course, China likes to block every now and then, but then again, there are some which even China agrees upon are actually international terrorists. So their infrastructure, which was there, because our neighbor keeps saying that they have been suffering from terrorism. Pakistan complaining about terrorism is basically somebody saying that they got bitten by their pet snake. They should probably find different pets. Anyways, having said that, they showed solidarity, standing in funeral processions, their military elite and their local police elite, and everybody was part of those funeral processions. So they were showing solidarity with terrorists, which is very evident and clear, right? Now, if Pakistan is suffering from terrorism and we are going against terrorists, then probably we are doing the job they are probably failing to do in their own country. So they should probably thank us. But no, they would like to wage a war, right? Because they have an army chief who has decided that there cannot be a reconciliation with India. He believes in the fact that they are of superior ideology, and Hindus probably of this country, right? If we says it's his superior ideology, probably we might be inferior according to him. And he has initiated full-scale military drone attacks across the border, right? Our air defense systems have held up, right? There was big news and happiness that was shared about one specific name, that was the S-400, and we'll come to that little later. They have held, right? Not one of these. So the Pakistanis have tried their drones, which are not even bought from Turkey, because Turkey would just like to give it to the Pakistanis. See, we might be using Israel military hardware or American military hardware or probably even Russian military hardware. All that has been bought by the taxpayers' money in this country to strengthen our forces. Whereas Pakistan right now is fighting a war by weapons which have been donated to the cause of the Pakistanis so that they can create regional tensions and make Indian economy weak, because India, being a strong economy, pinches certain people, especially the Chinese and the Americans. And why I'm saying Americans tonight is because we have reasons to believe that Americans might have vested interests in Indian economy getting hit, right? For that matter, even Europeans do. So because we keep thumping our chest again and again that we are the third largest economy now and we might become the number one economy, we'll probably be there, right? See, nobody can stop it. The problem is that they are trying all the measures that work against anybody else but not Indians, because we in essence are a little different. We are wired a little differently, and that is something that the world should agree upon as well. See, the world actually always keeps thinking that they've figured out India, but it's not that easy. We are too vast an ideology, a nation, the diversity of people in this country, right? So they made these attacks, and we have thwarted them, and we have given them a measured response, right? So we've said that fine, we will match you in the ferocity, and probably it's the onus is on you. So we've always said the onus is on you. So if you stop, everything stops. I don't know which part of that does not resonate with the Pakistani military establishment. See, Pakistani military establishment very cunningly has given more power to their chief, right? For those people who keep saying that India is a dictatorship while our elections were happening, should see what's happening in Pakistan right now. There is a news that the Pakistani Supreme Court has granted powers to the military to prosecute civilians who dissent against the Pakistani military. Incredible, isn't it? Right? So because there was a lot of dissent against the Pakistanis, so the Pakistani military has used this opportunity to crush dissent. So they were in trouble. Economically, they are in a big trouble. They are heading, or not even heading, they are actually in a civil war, which they blame us because they think that, because they play that game, everybody else is playing that game. No, we are not. We don't train men and arm them on our soil to wage terrorist wars on our neighbors. We don't do that, right? We are not starting those things with either of the countries, like any of the neighbors. So our response was pretty measured, right? And eventually we have seen the reports of damages. Like this time around, they can't even deny. But actually, coming to denial, what all have they denied? They have denied everything since 1947. 1947, they said it was basically the tribals. But then it was found that it was their army regulars, the Pakistani army regulars, who were fighting and waging a war. Right? In Kargil, they ended up saying that it is the Mujahideen. And it was later on found out that it was actually Pakistani army regulars who, after being neutralized by the Indian army, were not even given the respectful burial and funeral, right, by their own army. They left them, right? So That tells you a lot about them, which was confessed by General Musharraf, who was basically in charge of carrying out that dastardly attack on us. Then comes 26/11, right? We eventually captured one of their men who confessed everything. We handed them evidence after evidence after evidence, which of course, see, you can't, if somebody says, no, the sun rises in the west, you keep proving it to them, right? It is basically like somebody saying the earth is flat right now. No matter how much proof you show them, you can't do anything. Right? You probably put them in a rocket, take them to space and show them, listen, see, earth is round. You know what they'll do? They'll say, no, the windows of the spaceship are actually LED screens. And you're basically just showing me animation. Such people can never get out of it. Anyways, so they denied that. And in lovely statements by their foreign minister, who has confessed that they have been doing it for 30 years for the West. And the West basically, and yes, West is to be blamed as well. They gave these guys that idea that because, and this is an idea which has come out by Americans, because the United States of America has been helping ultras in South America against communist regimes and everything. They basically thought it was just like that. They were just creating something like that when they went into Afghanistan against the Russians. Fine. What happened? We all know what happened. We've all seen how Americans went out of Afghanistan and how they left the people who were probably working for them, with them, and everything else. Anyways, American story is different. Tonight we are talking about our neighbor's story with us. So they've accepted that, and few days back they accepted that they did Balakot indeed happened, right? Because they wanted to say something against the spice munitions that were used, and they had probably neutralized the Rafale. They had to, build a story, and they said, yeah, this was the same spice ammunition that was used in Balakot. So it's them who has agreed that Balakot happened, right? And today, one of their military spokesperson has said that Pulwama was their idea. Imagine, to my surprise, the people in this country, and there were people in this country who were saying, and it is so contradictory. They have been running statements made by one of the earlier the governors at that point of time, right, on their media, saying that this is something that we do, and now they confess. So, so it is very convenient. They can keep shifting. So when it comes to creating a narrative against India, so everything is done by India, right? But then again, when they don't have something to thumb chest on, they end up saying it's done by them. It's very interesting. So who's done it? It's basically them. They've agreed upon it, right? And now they are basically saying that, there should be a investigation, this, that, and that. And this time around, we have said, fine, these are the people involved. And we have gone after those people. Now, the thing is, we are all asking this question in our country, is that why won't these guys de-escalate? We are hitting them hard. What are we doing? We are hitting the terrorists. Terrorists have always been gun fodder for the Pakistani ideology. So you can kill 10,000, hundreds, they don't care. They'll keep producing them. That is what they're good at. That's the only two things that are made in Pakistan. One is their propaganda, and other is the terrorists that they export. And everybody in the world knows that. Every terrorist somewhere or the other goes back and has links to somebody or the other in our neighboring country. And everybody knows that. And whether it's the British, whether it's the Americans, right? Why did Americans come here, and who did they find here? Why was SEAL Team 6 going into Abbottabad? Everybody knows why, right? But unfortunately for Westerners, I don't know, probably they lack the will, or they have this ulterior motive that they can probably never see India rise or something. Something's wrong with them. See, British I can understand. British will live with this regret that they basically that's what happened, right? The Indians started it for them, right? Once basically India, the jewel in their crown was lost, they had to figure out a way that they were basically losing this country, and they should probably give us something of a pain in our backsides, which has been a pain, right? As it is pretty evident. So if they've done that and they've gone, but Americans, well, Americans like to be your trade partner till the time they can keep you weak and dependent upon them. And that is the biggest problem Americans have with Indians, that we are pretty self-reliant when it comes to almost about everything. And that is a problem with Americans. That's the same problem they have with Chinese as well. But the Chinese have got it a different way. See, we never stole something from the Americans and reverse engineered it or stole the patents. The Chinese do it shamelessly, and they say, hell with the Americans, and the Americans they're damned if they can do anything about it. They think their tariff things is working. Yes, it is hurting the Chinese economy, but what is China doing? China is making sure that hurt is caused somewhere else. That's the reason why just now Chinese have issued a statement that they would support Pakistan in any ways and means possible. There are foreign ministry statements out there for us to read. We Indians were feeling happy that Chinese are also condemning the Pulwama. See, condemning that attack and doing actions. See, actions and words are very different. We ended up doing, because yes, we want to have this, I've said it before as well, we want to be Vasudev, Kutumbakam and everything. But that does not work on countries like Turkey. They have supplied them with these drones. Pakistanis don't make drones. These are Turkish drones. So where are they coming from? From Turkey. How do they come from Turkey? In a big bad military plane that landed. What did Turkish say? It was just refueling. So I think what happened was while Turkish plane was refueling, it was probably carrying some drones, and I'm just saying it hypothetically, it was just carrying some drones, and some while they were refueling, some men in uniform of the Pakistani army or air force or whatever, they basically just went into the plane. They just picked these up to see. Oh, they were very intrigued. Oh, wow, these are drones. How can we use them? Oh, probably somebody who knew about them, who was probably a Turkish fellow, he said, you can use them by pointing towards India, and that's what happened. Jokes apart, but those Turkish drones are basically landing in our fields right now. And it's a very bad PR for the Turkish drones. And probably that is one of the reasons why Pakistani did not stick to the, ceasefire. See, what is happening this time around very differently for Pakistan is, Pakistan is always led in the narrative game. And this time around, we are not allowing that space to them. We are allowing them an out only on one condition, where they have to accept the fact that, they've got it all wrong. Because the moment the ceasefire happened in the evening, let's wait for that. Anyways, let's speak about it as it has come up. So the moment the ceasefire happened in the evening, obviously the narrative game began, right? Their television channels are saying, they pounded us so much over the last 3 days. Where? See, the videos of pounding that the Indians are giving them, that their airfields getting demolished and everything, are coming from them, their citizenry. And that's why I keep saying that if their citizenry does not abstain from clicking videos of what is happening there, probably the next thing the Pakistani army is going to do, they're going to pick away all your mobile phones. They'll take away your camera phone so that you stop recording and stop embarrassing them. So when we wake up in the morning, we see their huge big craters in their airstrips and all, there is nothing on our side. What is happening? We find one PL-15 missile, which the Chinese have hyped up so much, lying in a field in Hoshiarpur. And what a our Sikh friends doing there, they're having fun. They were like, let's pick it up, take it home. Right? And Chinese are worried right now because it's probably because they know. See, the one thing that I like about Chinese and the Pakistanis, everybody is they know us Indians so well that they think they know for a fact that we have brains enough to figure out what that missile is all about, right? So bad PR for the Turkish weapons, bad PR for the Chinese weapons. Now, and bad PR for the Pakistani chief of army chief as well, because he's thumped his chest and said standing on tanks and this and that, and he's made these speeches, so on and so forth. See, because he's not a politician essentially. See, if you see the politicians in Pakistan, they waver from anywhere from dropping nuclear bombs on us to, probably we should sit across the table and talk. Because this is what politicians do. Politicians can, and that is the reason why that's how diplomacy works. Right? Because you can talk to somebody who probably is not so hard and hot-wired in their head that they just can't understand that, you know what? Sometimes you have to let your ego go. So unfortunately, he cannot, because there is nothing. If what's going to happen if this peace that started and survived for only 3 hours, if this would have continued, his media, which was already butchering him, would have butchered him even further. And that's going to happen the moment it's coming to him. See, he is either eliminated by us or he'll be eliminated by his own. There is no, but unfortunately has such a big ego, he would not understand this. And that's what tyrants are. See, Hitler saw it coming long time ago that, it is unwinnable. But he waited till the very last moment. He basically took his country to such amounts of, destruction. This is what happens with tyrants. They will not just, no matter what. He's right now there, that's where he is. See, that does not happen in democratic governments. You see politicians say, sorry, we got it wrong all the time. Right? But unfortunately, he's not. He is a tyrant military general who's basically, consolidating his dictatorship even further and further and further. And dictators don't retire. They either get eliminated or, that's what happens to them. And the reason why they get eliminated by their own or by somebody else is because of the fact that people around them realize that, he is going to take the country he's already done that, right? It's not that Americans, sorry about that, it's not that the Pakistanis have not been getting any aid. But even after getting so much aid, anybody would love free money, wouldn't they? They keep getting it, taking it borrowing it from Chinese, from their friends in the Middle East, from Americans, right? They keep getting this and they still can't just revive their economy. Why? Because the moment that aid comes, instead of because they can't see the fact that, people have to progress. Okay, this is what you do. You make better roads, you get them food, shelter. If you just do that for people can find jobs, they can create jobs. That is how resilient human beings are, right? And they revive, and revival starts very fast. Humans anyways. So they keep getting all this aid, but how do they keep getting it wrong? And they've been getting it wrong for 70 years now. They basically started, we had a bigger nation, bigger population, and we are doing better than them by just getting it together, right? Why can't they get it? They're a smaller nation, smaller population. They've got everything sorted. They were getting American weapons to protect themselves, this, that, and the other. Nobody has gone into their territory ever until unless provoked. But it seems like every time they buy a new weapon, they've got to test it, right? And they come up with this weird notion that we are going to attack India. Because, that's what it is. They deny it. They're the only army in the world who claims to have won a war where 90,000 of their soldiers surrendered and they lost half of their country. Anyways, see, you can't, they just don't agree. This is what it is. They just, it just didn't happen. Then it did not happen. This does not happen. Deniability, total deniability. That is why they have that entire narrative, extra state actors, this, that, and they love these words. Anyways, they would jumble up and they confuse it. And international diplomacy, which works very pretty slowly, there's a lot of sophisticated language here, there, and there. They know it will all be lost in translation. That's what they bank on. Another thing that when we're talking about aid, right? So this is where I would like to mention that we Indians started thumping our chest saying that, that country is condemned, that country is condemned, that country is support. That. We need to realize, listen, I've said this, in this war against this particular neighbor of ours, we are alone. Yes, we have a friend here in Israel, we have a friend in Russia, but they are busy in their own things, right? Americans, trust me, if we ever think that Americans will do something like what they did in 71 for the Pakistanis, that they get their 7th fleet and park it right here, why aren't they doing it? They're not doing it. They don't have any leverage. President Trump, whatever leverage he has failed. It does not last 3 hours. And by the way, President Trump has almost given him almost about $400 million to maintain his F-16s. And those F-16s, we know when they'll be maintained, what are they going to get used against? Are they getting used against the BLA? No. Are they getting used against the Afghans? No. They'll get used against us only. The third border is us only. Right? So, yeah, we all know that. Americans thought, Pakistanis did not even give this operation a name until today. And now they have, smartly after they've received that $1 billion from IMF. IMF needs to think. We abstain from it, that is all that we can do. But then again, depending upon the size of your economy, the power of your vote is counted. Obviously, the most powerful votes there would be of the United States and China and so on and so forth. And they granted these $1 billion. And of course, they would like to believe the fact that they'll be able to monitor $1 billion. So much of aid has gone into this country. Anybody has been able to monitor how much of it has reached common people in Pakistan? If it has reached common people in Pakistan, do you think Pakistanis are a developed country? No. They're fighting for ration, they're fighting for food, they're fighting for water now. So we are all happy, and see, we started creating that narrative that, we got him, we got them to the knees, but then again, this is what happens, and the ceasefire is broken again. And the point that I'm trying to make is that in the end, everything for a tyrant, what happens? We've had examples in our history, we have ample examples. What happened to such people? To them, they live in this own notion that they can probably sacrifice their people, their countries, everything just to satisfy their egos. Right? The peacemongers in our country, right? The peace toolkit party, who basically just could not get that story out on Instagram on 23rd or 24th or 25th of April. But suddenly Operation Sindoor starts, and then again they all say, oh, de-escalate. So de-escalated, fine. There was halt to the military actions, right? Ceasefire, apparently. Brokered by Donald Trump. What happened? Who's escalating? See, this is what Pakistanis are doing. They're baiting us to probably go against them, and they keep flying that civilian airline every evening, every night. There's one civilian flight that goes. so that we can probably be held responsible for killing civilians. Their artillery pieces, their own people have shared a video where one of their missile launch platforms, mobile missile launch platforms, is launching from nearby a civilian population. Because we Indians are this time saying that we'll retaliate, right? We will not tolerate this nonsense. So we'll retaliate. What do we retaliate against? We will obviously retaliate against that platform. Where is that platform? And if it blows up, right? The only story that will be shown, and cleverly, all these CNNs and BBCs, they will go to that site and they will click the civilians dying and holding us accountable for those collateral civilians' deaths, instead of the fact realizing what was launching from there and where was it falling. Right? And another thing that Pakistanis are not liking right now is that the Indian population is pretty resilient right now. They thought that probably they can cause a civil war like is happening in their country here. See, I've said this again, I've said this last time as well, I'll say this again, that all of Pakistani population, sorry about that, all of Pakistani population, again, standing with all of their army, is still less than only half of our population standing with half of our army, because obviously there are two fronts for us all the time. 2.5 fronts actually, but forget that. Half front is also getting tackled pretty well these days. And I'm proud of the fact we are tackling them from within. So, moral of the story is, can we trust them? No. What should we do next? Well, the ball is in their court. They need to stop. Right? Because, as I mentioned, the timeline is 22nd of April. Right? 4 cowardly men causing bloodshed in the Pahalgam Valley. And I think what's most irritating to the Pakistanis right now is Kashmiris protesting against Pakistan. They've attacked a Gurdwara, right? And yes, the Sikhs of this country stand with this country. And not about those, the ones that protest against around our missions outside. They've got nothing to do with this country. Right? I don't know what they're disgruntled about. They've got everything wrong. The people who probably did something bad to the Sikhs, they have been dealt with as well, and it was not this government, and these people. It was other people. They've got it all wrong. So, so forget the Khalistanis, they've got it all wrong, and see, the Sikhs are there, and our Sikh soldiers are fighting. So, and of course, what are our northern border-lying states? We should always keep them in high regard. The Kashmiris, right? The Punjabis, the Haryanvis, the Rajasthanis, and even the Gujaratis. You know what? If any of these populations basically finds it irritating enough one day, Pakistan is going to have it. And that's what they're doing. They're just pushing. So they can keep doing this, Sindoor, Suagra thing and everything. But mind you, so please stop, right? Instead of just trying to find newer goalposts that you can keep shifting this, that, and the other, it's not helping your case anyways. So, what are the takeaways from this? Big PR disaster for Chinese weapons, Turkish weapons. Big PR disaster for General Munir, because obviously now he is basically stuck between a rock and a hard place. Reason is, he would like to show, that's why the desperate attempt to go against this command headquarter or that and this and that and temple or label the Indian army, and we made it clear, abundantly clear. Please do not hide behind this, because this is exactly something that somebody else does in some another part of the world. Park your military weapons in civilians. Do all your military operations from heavily populated areas, so that there can be collateral damage when there is a reply to that, right? Religious places, so that you can basically go and say our religious places of worship were targeted, so on and so forth. And they keep getting it wrong all the time. That listen, these are proscribed terrorists that got. So we have gone against the terror infrastructure, and that has hit badly. That has hurt them badly, and they know the fact that obviously for a very long time to come, they'll probably not be able to do something of it. But we also need to realize that these people, at least we have enough experience knowing that they will not go back on causing trouble to us. And as for Chinese are concerned, listen, I'll tell you what, I don't understand the Chinese. They're weird sometimes. And I'll tell you why they're weird. Chinese can't sell in United States anymore. Europe is not the kind of market which is going to absorb all that they were selling to the United States. They need markets like India, but they want to weaken our economy because Chinese, please get it into your heads. The only way you stay a strong economy is that if we stay a vibrant market. Right? So, anyways, you've shown solidarity, and it's nothing surprising to us. I'll tell you what. Chinese coming up with this statement that they stand with the Pakistanis. Oh, we know it. We don't need you to tell us. We know it. Thanks for making it clear, which was abundantly clear in the first place to begin with. So we know it. Anyways. So I think that has covered a lot of things that I wanted to say. But then again, as I said, the more clarity you try to find in our neighbor and in countries like Turkey and China and even United States, the more ambiguous and murky it keeps becoming. That's where we are at. They basically want to, they're not happy with the fact that we are not the land of snake charmers, and we keep showing them clean cities, better highways. Oh, yeah. Anyways, actually, this is one thing that before I go, one very heartening thing was that and I'll talk about this as well. Let's talk about people from within our country, the support that the Indian military is receiving. The Reliance Industries, the Ambanis, said they stand with our military, and when they say they stand with our military, there probably is a bigger promise of the $1 billion that Pakistanis now have to return to the World Bank, right? So we don't need the World Bank. We have our own Ambanis, dude. You got that $1 billion, Nita Ambani is probably spending it on wedding festivities. So chill, right? They wanted to hurt the IPL. You think the moment everything starts, the IPL starts again, we are going to make that money back again. No ways. Right? You can keep doing your Pakistan Cricket League. We know what you're giving them as prizes. Forget that. So anyways, I think that is what the problem is, that we have a good pie right now. They want a piece of that pie and we're not giving it to them. They're like, please share it with us. You won't share it with us, I'll kick you in your shins. That's what they're trying to do. Right? So, and also to those people who probably cannot say anything in support of our army right now, or the Air Force or the Navy, the boys that are doing a marvelous job, or probably cannot support the borderline states who are facing the major brunt of this escalation. If you cannot stand in solidarity with them and you would like to peacemonger right now, you should probably direct those messages of yours on social media towards our neighbor who's basically started it. Or you should basically just keep quiet. Because, it's not going to dishearten our boys as well. Because a lot of people say, if you don't encourage our boys enough. Listen, if our boys were not encouraged enough, they have not been doing what they're doing for last couple of days. Or for last 70 years. Right? So, forget that. Also, the celebrities who, are basically, some of them have just disappeared and some of them have got, their tweets have gotten stuck and they are not coming out. Forget them, yeah. We need to wisen up. We as Indians need to wisen up. Why should we travel to a country like Turkey, who is basically giving weapons which are getting used against our population, our army, our military assets? Why should we spend our hard-earned money travel? There are other beautiful countries that we can probably travel to. Forget Istanbul for a period of time. Right? It's the same thing. Maldives had this thing. Fine. Okay, fine, Maldives, we will not come to you. Okay, no problem. Okay. Right? And I was watching like the celebrities who are really quiet and right now they do the ads, right? These companies need to realize that we are getting irritated seeing them in those ads. Please don't do it. We need to stop buying the products that they advertise. That's it. That's how simple it is. Don't buy that one vest or banyan or underwear that they sell. Just boycott that brand, right? And they'll realize. If you have to build a house, just don't buy that particular piece of steel from that particular company. And they'll realize. So, yeah. Anyways, that's what my point of view on this is, right? Because people get very agitated these days. Anyway, so if somebody is getting agitated, my apologies, please don't, right? But then again, we feel that way, right? We are expecting it from a certain... Probably we should stop expecting. We should probably rally behind our men with those people who are actually... There are people in our Bollywood who are probably standing with our boys and they are doing a fantastic job. And we should probably encourage these people even more. So, yeah, why not? Even if they probably do not mean it from the heart, but at least they have the time to say it. So, yeah, for those, thanks. We should say thanks to them. Support them as well. Support their content as well. Rest, anyway, so I think that probably just covers it, whatever ad I had mine. So, yeah. So, until next time, you take care of yourself. Please stay safe. Please listen to what the local authorities say about your safety. Please do not violate blackout measures. It's not a joke because somebody sitting right there is launching at you. Right? Also, please do not make or share content where you're probably showing movement and positions, locations of our troops. Right? If you want to share something as well, let it not be in the exact period of time, but still, you can do without it. Right? You can say enough. So, yeah, don't do that. Rest, I think we are doing a great job and we're giving it back to them and they're kicking them in their jollies, and that's the reason why they just can't stop. So, to the boys who are fighting for us right now, I hope you keep doing what you're doing, and until next time, Jai Hind.